Howdy folks, how's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing good out there. It's been a good while since I made a video on any of my trucks really. Been working here a lot lately. I work 12-hour shifts now and kind of hard to get a lot of time to do anything anymore, but this is the update. I still got all my trucks. I got my C10, I got the 78 Ford, I got the 89 of course we got right here. Got the C10, I still got my Edsel, and I still got my Chevelle. But long story short, I found out what was wrong with this 89 right here. I finally figured it out. I had quite a bit of issues actually. One issue it had is it has the 306 cylinder in it, and I will show y'all the one issue it has. But I pretty much got it completely tore down. And the first issue was this intake here, the lower intake. This has got the EFI on it. But the lower intake, if you look at this corner here, on this intake here, this is the lower half. And turn it around right here. This ear is broke off. See how this one's got the ear? This one's okay. But the ear on this side was broke off. So it had a heck of an intake, had a heck of a vacuum leak right here. That's been broke off for quite a while, as you can tell. Full of grease and oil and everything. So it's been broke off for quite a while. So that was the first thing. Had a heck of a vacuum leak. The other thing is most of the head bolts and everything, all that felt pretty good. I pulled this head off and I just set it back on just to keep water out of it. But another issue it had with it is this head that's on this truck right here is cracked. It actually wasn't a blowed head gasket. This truck didn't have a blowed head gasket. It actually, on number 2 cylinder on the exhaust valve, it was cracked. But got this thing finally tore down. It's been about 3 days doing this. It took quite a bit of work. I was trying to be careful with everything. I ended up I destroyed the water. Ended up destroying the fan, and to get this water pump off, which that's all right. Water pump I ain't worried about. Water pump I was going to replace anyway, but I had to basically destroy this fan, trying to get all this crap off out of the way. Which, I mean, I can get another water pump there, like $30, and then get another fan clutch. But the bad part is I'm going to have to get another fan and another pulley. I didn't have the tool to get all that apart, so I might get the tool and try and get that pulley off there, because I need that pulley off of it. But ain't no big deal though. That can be fixed. But long story short here is I pulled everything apart, got this head off just about, and let me show y'all what I found wrong with it. Okay, so I'm back here. I got the head pulled off, and actually all the cylinders look really good. This is the one that had the cracked head, number 2 cylinder. You can see the top of the piston right there is really clean. What happens as it runs, it basically steam cleans everything, and that piston is pretty clear that something was wrong in that cylinder there. But it ain't got hardly no ridge. Believe it or not, this motor has I think it has 146,000, something like that. No, 124. It has 124,000 miles on it. And I mean, it could be 224, but I don't know. I say that's 124,000 because it ain't got hardly no ridge. I mean, I can't even feel it. And actually, if you look at it there and turn the motor over here, everything spins over real nice. But if you look right there, I don't know if it'll pick it up on camera, but right on the top of the cylinder right here, right through there, you can still see some of the cross hatching. And it's not just that cylinder, all of them are like that. So that's a really good sign. So I'm hoping this bottom in here is savable. But that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully it didn't ruin the bearings or anything. One of the issues I had with this thing was the oil pressure kept fluctuating. Of course, we got a train coming now. Norfolk and Southern. By the way, I make videos here and there of trains too. That's something else I like to do. Kind of a rail fan. Like doing that. But Long story short, took about 3 days here to tear this down. Alright, welcome back here. I wanted to let that train pass, but like I was talking about, you can see here on the video here, a lot of the cross hatching is still in these cylinders here, so the bottom end looks really good here. So spins over really good. And ain't got hardly no ridge, so I'm hoping the bottom end is savable. Hopefully. But anyway, this is one of the issues, the main issue right here. This is number 1 cylinder right here. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Number 2 here, this is the problem we had. Y'all can see that. I just want y'all to look really closely right here. This is the exhaust valve on number 2. And there's a crack that goes all the way across. And it stops right about right there at the end of my finger there. Let's see if I can show you that a little more clearly. Just trying to get in the sun. Get from this angle here. There it is. See if I can get that, capture that. Get it in the sun a little better. Okay, now y'all can see it. There we go. So look really closely at that. Okay. That's a crack. It goes all the way from basically the valve seat all the way across. Just about, and stops right about there. Right at the end of my finger right there. So it's basically once everything heated up, it spread apart more and let more water in, and that's pretty much run on 5 cylinders. But the head gasket was not blown. Because I had looked at it, and it's actually still sitting on the block over there. But I was looking at it to make sure it wasn't blown in between cylinders there. A lot of times they'll blow it right in the middle here of the head, because if you think about it, all the air is hitting this front of this head all the time, and it's harder to cool all this back in here. So most times kind of in the middle of the head, but this one is right there on number 2 there. But that is another issue we had. So we had a broke off ear on the intake, so that was causing a vacuum leak. And if you look right in here, y'all can tell that's where the ear was broke off. So you can tell that's been broke off for quite a while. You can tell where it wasn't sealed up right, because you can see how it was sealed all around the gasket, was hitting right all in there. And if you get right here, it stops. So that whole corner was letting air getting down in there, and pretty much causing a major vacuum leak. That's why my truck kept cutting off on me. And of course the other issue was this cracked head. Now that head's been cracked for quite some time. I thought I may have did it, because I was actually hauling gravel with this truck the last time I drove it. But I was looking for that. We'll get to this here in a second here. Stick that bolt back in there so I don't lose it. But anyway, that's the long story short. We had a cracked head. We had a broke off ear on the intake, lower intake there. So had a vacuum leak. Water was getting into number 2 cylinder. I thought it had a burnt valve or something, but that's a broke off ear. I actually found that piece sitting on the frame underneath the truck. I'm not quite sure what I did with it, but it's around here somewhere. I'll find it. But what else here? I think some of the emission stuff was messing with it too, but you can see this is our head gasket here. If we look, none of these are blowed through. So this is number 2 right here. It's not blowed through. See, I thought they were blowed through on one of them in the center, and all the bolt holes, none of them are blowed through either. A lot of times it really doesn't. Sometimes around the bolt holes right there, they'll corrode. See how they get corroded like that? They don't really actually blow, you would say. They just, the head gasket gets corrode over time and lets water into the cylinder. The head gasket was not the issue though. So you looked all the way down and none of them are blowed in the center. So we had a cracked head. So So hopefully it's salvageable. But anyway, this pretty much sums it up for this truck. So this truck I'm trying to work on getting going again. It's been down since about February. Here we are, June now. And it kind of makes me mad because I got brand new tires on this thing, and this thing's set since February, and I ain't got no use out of it. So, been paying insurance on it and can't even drive it. So, I actually drove it into this spot when I had a blowed head gasket. I actually hauled gravel with it, and it got hung up. That last snow we had here, and it got hung up, and ended up getting it stuck, and ended up having to get my neighbor to pull me out. But it got a little bit hot. No, it didn't overheat, but it got a little bit warm. But I don't think it hurt the short block any. But anyway, here, long story short, on my 78 Ford, I still got it, and I'm gonna fix it too. I'm actually working on that first before I get this 89, because this 89, it's gonna take a good while to get this thing straightened out. It's got all that fuel injection stuff, and I ain't made my mind yet if I'm gonna go back old school and just throw a Clifford intake on it and delete all that emission junk, or either if I'm gonna try and salvage it and put it back EFI. So I ain't made my mind up yet. Of course, this block don't have the provision for a mechanical fuel pump. That's where that would mount. So I'd still have to run an electric fuel pump, unfortunately. But that's still up in there, ain't decided. But either way, I still like to fix it because, I mean, it's a good truck. It's a solid old truck. Ain't perfect. Got a lot of dings and dents, but this is my old beater, and I kind of like to keep going. I really don't want to scrap it, but anyway, long story short, to get back to the 78 Ford, I just picked up this 302 here. I picked it up for $100 down in Louisa. Ended up getting this off a gentleman. He's a real nice gentleman. I ended up got this for $100. Just picked it up, brought it back, slid it off my C10 over there onto this one, so I wouldn't have to drag it around to work. But I just pulled the intake off, got the heads all off of it, and just took and looked at everything, set everything back on, just snugged everything back. But it's definitely going to have to be gone through, but it doesn't look that bad. And pretty sure it's still all standard bore, so I might just get lucky and just be able to re-ring it and maybe cut that ridge out, and all the crank and everything don't look bad. Just kind of throw rings in it and gasket and let it ride. But the valve covers, intake I ain't gonna use, water pump I ain't gonna use, so I'll have to get a balancer. But this is a newer 302 actually. This one, he said it was a 83, so I don't know. It's definitely newer though, because it's got this smog stuff in the heads. That's why these he put a bolt back here evidently to, used to have a crossover tube, something to do with the emissions crap. But it's got the bolt here and on the back of this head, and of course it's got one back here. And I'm wondering if that's why it's got this stud right here on this side. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But it's definitely got newer heads on it. I was trying to look for a casting number, but I don't know really where it would be. You said it was out of an 83 Torino, I think is what I want to say. So I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But it's definitely a 302. I just took and I took my tape measure and measured the bore, and it's definitely a 4-inch bore. Now I don't know for sure if it's still standard or not, but I'm pretty sure it is, because it don't look like it's ever been apart. It's got a heck of a lot of sludge in it though, but it's definitely a newer, because I'm pretty sure it looks like the one-piece rear main seal. So it's definitely got the newer style one-piece rear main seal in it. He said it had fuel injection and all that on it. It's got the newer valve covers. I was thinking it was a little bit newer than 83. I was thinking it was something like from the late 80s, early 90s. And somebody just threw an old carburetor back on it. He said it had a throttle body on it and all that, but I don't think they did. I think they would have, that intake is completely different, I'm pretty sure. So I think they just took an old two-barrel carburetor and intake and threw on it something from the 80s, and it's like a newer long block. So I'll have to look into that, see what I really got here. But plan is I'm gonna take this thing, clean it up. I already pulled the heads and everything off of it. It's got a little bit of a ridge in it, but as long as the crank and everything looks pretty good on it, then hopefully I can throw a new set of rings in it and let it ride. I got a 283 I'm rebuilding. I'm gonna do like that, but this one's got quite a little bit more of a ridge than my 283 had, but so it's hard to tell. But this is for my 78 Ford here, so I'm gonna clean it up and put it over in there. I kind of want to do this on a budget. I want to keep this as low as I possibly can and just reuse everything I can. The intake valve covers I'm not going to use, obviously, but this one I got to find out. He said it was externally balanced, so that balancer down there and that flex plate, I'm going to have to find the correct flex plate that'll go to a C4. So that's one thing I got to look into. He said he said it come out of a 83 Torino, I want to say, 83 Ford car. No, it might have been a Crown Vic. Maybe it was a Crown Vic, but long story short, it said it come out of an 83 Ford car. And then he put it over in a 77 Ford, and then he switched his timing cover and the water pump and all out. And he had it in front of a C4 transmission, but he said it shook a little bit because he didn't have the right flex plate, which I'm hoping it didn't mess anything up. I'll find out for sure, but hopefully I can at least get the heads off of it. And, I mean, the heads are worth $100, even if I can't use a short block. But my other one, I'm not sure what's wrong with the other one. I know it's got a blade head gasket, but it's got that sound. So I thought it was a crack in the exhaust manifold on my 78 Ford, but it's something more than that. It might have a burnt valve, but it's weird because I did a compression test on it, and all the cylinders got compression. They're low. They're like 90 to anywhere from 90 psi to 100 psi. They're all low, which is really horrible, but if it would have had a burnt valve, it